Hey, welcome to a painting video. This is going to be Share Pirate Gaming. I'm your host, Grimaldus, here to bring you a painting video, and I'm going to paint some Death Guard. So normally, again, I would talk about something while painting. I did this before, like 2 years ago, with my phone, and I definitely got a better camera now. I mean, the camera's still kind of crappy. I mean, you can sort of see what I'm working on. He looks like this now. But he's supposed to look eventually like, I don't know if you guys can see it, like this. What he's supposed to look like a really disgusting plague marine. So, I decided to, again, not only again to paint, but when I do painting videos, I'm actually going to do some lore. I'll talk while painting. So this time, obviously, we're doing Death Guard, and since we're still in COVID, I'm going to do a lot of Death Guard because I need it for the channel, first of all, and second of all, with it, I don't have enough Death Guard for the channel, so I need to do that desperately. So, in this video, we're going to talk about these guys. The Nurglings. They're going to be the lore focus of this chapter, this painting video. And before we start anything, I'm going to share a plug of my dear friend Chris from Way of the Brush. If you don't know who he is an amazing painter from Canada, and he has his own channel on YouTube. Check him out, The Way of the Brush. He says all the time, take care of your brushes, and brushes will take care of you, and he's absolutely right. So today we're going to, again, use Strachan Green, and I have a lot to paint. I have these guys to paint too. I'm probably going to just dry brush it. And after, when the video is over, I'll probably continue. If you can't see them really well, like these guys. Camera see it? Camera see. Yep, these guys, these gross duders. So in the meantime, like I said, I'm going to paint them up. I really love these. Randall's really funny, my friend. He says that they look like a plug. I'm not gonna say what kind of plug they are, but again, like they're really handy. If you're a painter, you're definitely going to need something like this, because when you do, let's say, brush work, I'm just going to show you. Here you go. You're going to see again, as you do, like, it holds it, so you don't have to worry about holding it like this, and then going like this. You can just, again, have a lot more free room with your wrist. And I have a friend named Brave, which I call him, Braverman on my show. He has problems with his wrist, so this investment is really good. Like, this is really good. If you haven't invested in one of these plugs, you really should. It is an amazing plug. Like, it is literally like $8-9 usually. I don't know how much it costs for Europe, but they are very good for what they do. I've used this constantly, and I also have this, the Citadel painting cup. It is amazing because it has little ridges inside. These tiny little ridges, if you can see. Inside the ridges, again, allow you to, again, straighten your brush, giving a lot of longevity to your brush. I mean, this is a GW brush, so it's not really that great. But hey, I mean, like, you gotta do what you can, okay? So, before we start this lore video, I am somewhat of a storyteller. I do a lot of D&D, I write, stuff like that. So, I am not really a lore expert. I am not consider myself a lore expert. I love the lore. I have read the lore. I've really appreciate the lore. That's one thing GW does really well. It's kind of like Dark Souls, where like the lore is so advanced that it'll take like months just to catch up with the lore. People fell in love with the lore long ago, and they still do. It's a good feeling because with it, that's how it connects 40K to a lot of viewers. I know my friend Michelle at the library I work at, she had no idea what 40K was, and I told her about 40K, and she's like, I like demons. So she again talked about the warp and everything else, and she's like, demons? And she like, again, like, she's like, this is amazing, like, this is a board game? So again, like I said, it branches out. The lore is very important because it really connects us to our models, and obviously, again, like, I collected Death Guards. I thought they were cool. Some people are like, I don't like Death Guard. They're one note. I mean, they're chaos. They're supposed to be one note. I really love Slaanesh. I'm sorry, Nurgle, but like I love Slaanesh more than I like Nurgle. But at the time, Nurgle models were, look at it. Look how cool this is. This is a custom-made model. Like, look how cool this freaking is. And like I said, like I painted these guys to look like this. Look how disgusting that is. It's like a garbage man walking around. I'm going to slay you for Nurgle. Rrr. I mean, like I said, like Slurm's like model. He looks really good. So the whole point, like I said before, is that like with me being a lore expert, I am somewhat of a lore expert. So I'm not completely a lore expert, but I'm gonna like talk about the lore, and then if I get things wrong, people please comment it. If not, go check out two very good YouTubers. The first YouTuber is Lutin, Lutien. He's a 40K YouTube channel. He has amazing lore videos, like amazing lore videos. Please check him out. Same with Lord Voldemort. He's a funny dude. He does all these audio dramas and he talks. Let's see if I can imitate his voice. Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Lord Voldemort. Like he's really good at making these audio dramas, and he's very good lore master too. Please check them out on YouTube. Please again subscribe to them. They are amazing, both of them. I went through difficult times in my life, and they got me through some really difficult spells. Same with Chris from Way of the Brush. We are all a community, so please check them out. Further ado, let's go to painting. Let's start with a Strachan green. We're just going to do some dry brushing on camera because that is simple, and I can just talk and not have to worry about doing bridges and stuff. So, as Chris would say, thin your paints. Always thin your paints. This brush is crappy, so I really don't care for it. I'm going to put some good amount of Strachan green down. Good amount. Try to put as much as I can so I can at least, if you guys can see our camera, you can see at least again like like a good helping of it. This paint dries up really fast, unfortunately, so you have like a small window. And you have a small window of opportunity to do this. I may have to keep doing this again and again, but that's just the way of the beast, I suppose. Okay. Then once you dry it off, your brush, take a little bit of Lamian medium, a little bit. As my mentor would say, my friend Chris, he's like, make sure you thin your paints. Duncan says the same thing too, but again, like with it, like it's really true. Try to thin your paints as much as you can. I always paint my stuff really blotchy, but on camera I'm going to have to do everything correctly, because that's just how it is. Like I'd rather do it correctly on camera. Off camera, I'm terrible. I put stuff in my pots and everything else. I'm not even going to like claim myself to be a good painter, but on camera I have to be. It's kind of respect kind of thing. Respect. It's a very Sicilian thing. Respect. So, like I said, I'm going to thin this out a little bit so it stays a little bit, like not dry, but at least it'll allow me to dry brush it a little bit easier. So now that we have this Strachan medium, I'm going to again go over with this and take, I guess, this brush. Which brush? It's a good dry brush. Not really. Not a good dry brush. What is a good dry brush? Come on. People are waiting for me to paint. I guess this one. I mean, it's not really a good dry brushing one, but I'll use this one. Usually, again, they have different ones to dry brush. I get a lot of Chinese brushes because my brushes go really quick. I do sometimes clean them, but again, like I said, like I usually again go through detail brushes really quickly. So I'm going to dry brush with this thing, and here we go. Dry brush, dry brush. Slightly go dry brushing it, like so, like so, like a good death guard. Oh, oh. So, anyways, let's go talk about Nurglings. Yay! The autistic children of Nurgle. So, I love playing on the channel with them. They're really not as good as they were, like, I think in 7th. My friend Dari got me hooked on Death Guard, actually, so you can thank him for that, all Death Guard players. He is an amazing person. He and me have gone way back. I remember for my birthday, I bought him his Mortarion model, and he couldn't believe it, so he has a Mortarion model because of me. I'm not saying just to be like, oh, no, it's something again about like I love the community behind 40Ks because ironically there's like even though there's toxic people in this community, like every community, like we really try to help each other out. The world is a terrible place, and we try to make it a little bit better by playing this board game. I mean, like this board game is supposed to be about war, and war's not good, but same token, like at least like like someone like him, like we were talking about this recently. He never loved Ultramarines until I convinced him to play Ultramarine player. Now he's playing Ultramarines and Death Guard. So we were talking about the new codex and whatnot, and he said Nurglings are not as good anymore because Disgusting Resilient has changed. So they can't really survive much, and they can't. If you see my last battle report, I'm not going to spoil it for you. You can see what happens. I started using the actual rules. I'll actually get the codex soon, and I'll explain, not explain, but like I'll go over some of my own gripes about it. I'll do like not a report, or because most of the YouTubers already covered it. I'm just going to give my thoughts on it, and then what combos could possibly good. And if you really want a good explanation of it, check out Ego Queen Alexis. She has a good Death Guard review of the codex. Anyways, at this point we're going to go Nurglings. So first things first, what are Nurglings? I'm going to read off a script. It says here, Nurglings are demons from the warp, and you have to explain about the warp a little bit, because people come to me and thought, well, what is the warp? In 40k, there's a place called the Realm of Souls. It's like a special alternate dimension where actual demons, or they call it Neverborn, but if you're very big into lore, you understand, that again reside in. So there's 4 chaos factions, or 4, well, there's technically 5, but we're going to go with just 4, just for new players, that reside in the warp, that constantly fight each other for dominance. One is called Khorne. He's like this big, muscle brute, Aztecian, barbarian thing that sits on a throne and watches his subjects fight to the death all the time, and he kind of sits there brooding, because he's like the ultimate Batman or something, or evil Batman. And he just would sit there and he would watch his subjects fight, because they would just gather blood and skulls. That's their shtick. I mean, we are talking about demons here. I mean, EW is pretty creative-ish when it comes to their demons. The next one we have is another realm called the Realm of Tzeentch. Tzeentch is about change. It's about, again, the arcane trickster that kind of plays with your fate. It's kind of like madness and magic, and his whole realm is filled with really sadistic, I'm going to trap you here forever and you're going to lose your mind and look at this fate. Yeah, no. It's like Tzeentch is very he's like the galaxy's ultimate sociopath, pretty much. Then we have Slaanesh, which is one of my favorites. She, he, it, whatever pronoun you want to use. She is she who thirsts. The Eldar are very Eldar are elves or space elves in this game. And what happened is that they were so hedonistic in their pleasures, they would do terrible things. And what happens is that because they did all these terrible things, their psychic energy gathered and made a new chaos god, Slaanesh. She who thirsts. Now she usually goes after Eldar or elves, space elves, to absorb their souls. So at this point, again, like I said, she's very hedonistic. She loves the pleasures of the flesh, of temptations, music, and pretty much drugs. She's like the galaxy's hooker. I'm gonna call her that. At this point, again, with it too, is she has another realm of pleasure for herself in the warp, where all her demons reside. And then finally, we get to the last one, Nurgle, or we call him the grandfather. Again, grandfather Nurgle. Now, this whole COVID thing, people are pretty upset. I don't blame them. They're upset, but grandfather uses it as a blessing. Of course, he spreads gifts of contagion all over the place. The little lords, or the Nurglings over here, are his little avatars. They go around doing not terrible things. I mean, they're very mischievous. They're almost like an autistic 5th grader. At this point, again, I'm going to read from the script again. They are small little buggers who gather in huge masses, usually to honor their god, Grandfather Nurgle. So what happens with it too is that Nurgle himself reveres these little guys because they're pretty much his children. Pretty much his children. So with it too is that at this point, this guy's done. Nice guy. And with that too, again, he has this humongous cauldron. He makes these contagions and these poxes and whatnot. And he, unfortunately, has a male older bride named Isha, which is another space elf god. I'm not even joking. That he experiments on her every day to be hey, I'm going to keep you in a cage and make my birdie sing. Here, how's this work? I mean, I don't know how abusive or good their relationship are, but I'm pretty sure if you keep your wife in a cage, it's not a good step. Pretty sure the council's okay, so you keep your wife in a cage and you feed her these contagions, yes. And she's okay with it? Yeah, sure. She has no choice. No, no. Do you see how unhealthy this is? Unhealthy? What are you talking about? How dare you say unhealthy? I mean, like I said, like with it, the little lords are like these little abominations that run around and they like kind of crap and giggle all over the place. They are again his machinations to the galaxy, and he like spreads them all to cause mischief across the galaxy. Are the little lords evil? Yes, they are. They're pretty evil, but on a scale of 1 to 10, they're like a 2. They're just really autistic children that just want to like throw feces at each other and just play. I'm not even joking. Like they're disgusting little mongrels for a reason. So there are little lords are actually children, and then what happens with it too is again that Nurgle himself is a god of death, and god of renewal. People again don't like COVID because they lost many loved ones. And I understand. I've been there. I just went to a funeral. It was awful. I miss my friend dearly. He's a great friend of mine. But what it too is that Nurgle brings renewal too. You know, like it's kind of like a cycle. Even though people curse him, his followers are actually really happy usually. Why? Because again, like Nurgle actually loves his followers. He's like Santa Claus, but like a reverse Santa Claus. He's a very gross, disgusting Santa Claus. AKA hashtag save Isha. I mean, what it's his point with it, like the little lords embody that childhood spirit inside Nurgle. Nurgle is kind of like you know all the chaos gods are having their war. They fight each other because they want dominance of the realms. They call it the Great Game. And Nurgle doesn't really. Well, he kind of plays the game, but he just doesn't really care. I mean, he's more stagnant. He's like he just wants to see again how his you know contagions grow. He's happy his wife gets infected by it. He's like, how was it? Was it good? You see like Isha like blurbering like all this blood, and she's like, ah, I mean, like the poor girl again, like it's been like tortured, I don't know, for like 10,000 years or something nonsense like that. I don't know. But the do with it, like again, with it, the Nurglings, they are very again mischievous because Nurgle is mischievous. He likes to see the galaxy accept his gifts, and they're terrible gifts. They're awful gifts, but to him, he's like, oh, these are great gifts. You know, I'm going to give you like sores on your crotch. Wait, what? And like I said, like it's just stuff like that. Like it to him, he's doing a good thing. I don't know. Like the way I see it is that like Nurgle is just again a very fat autistic child who never grew up. Sound familiar? Anyways, but the point too is again, I'm going to go to the next part of the script. It says, what do they look like? And I'll read from the script. Nurglings are little bulbuses of creatures that represent their patron god. They're roughly little balls of disgusting feces, or again like slime or throne-bound diseases they carry. I mean, like they look like this. They look like tiny little pox-ridden, like disgusting little blobs, and they're like hundreds of them. Like these models don't do justice because in the lore there's like hundreds of these things running around the battlefield. Oh, grossed out, carrying canisters, throwing bombs, I mean, they're just trying to play. That's what they do. And speaking of the battlefield, what role on the battlefield did they have? Well, they're an interesting bunch, these Nurglings. Other than spreading their untold disease, ruin, and contagion, the Nurglings are actually akin to children. As I said before, these guys are very, childish. They'll show up on the battlefield and be like, oh, we're going to go get the objective. As, Pox yells at them, being like, hold on to this contagion. Okay. Hey, guys, you want to play hot potato? Again, they don't care. It's just they have a mind span of a gopher. They're not going to remember much. They're going to, again, do what they want because they're mischievous. And that's what Nurgle really loves them, because he loves seeing his children play. It's like a scene with The Godfather when Marlon Brando chases after his grandchild. Something like that. Imagine, a Nurgle version of it. Of course, Nurgle doesn't die of a heart attack, but still. The point is that with it, in that scene, you see how happy he is chasing his grandson. And I think what it is with it, it is a very good scene because Nurgle's like that. Nurgle loves to see his children play. He loves to see his Nurglings going out there, spreading the contagions and everything else. And he just really, again, smiles every time that happens. Because it kind of reminds you of him, but in smaller fashion, I guess. I'm trying to try bust this less, but second. So what I did with the dry brushing, I did a Rackhart flesh. Oh, sorry, Rackhart flesh. And what I did, I primed it white, and then I took Ricard flesh shade, and I went over it afterwards. So I'm painting it like with this green color. I'm trying to go softly over it so I can get the crevices in. His face, I'm just gonna do last. I'm gonna make his face like pale. Let me just add white. I really don't like DW's white. Vallejo white has a better white. But, you know, I'm just a sucker for buying DW stuff. My chip will activate and, like, go buy new Death Guard. Okay, I don't have the money for food, but I'm going to buy Death Guard. But like I said, like, I'm just going to, again, like, you know, get with the paints I have, because obviously I'm broke, and, well, we're all broke right now. But at least with it, like, you know, like, I can paint during this plague, at least. And also, painting is very therapeutic. It helps you calm down. I know a lot of people who have suffered trauma before, and it's very difficult for them. They have different, you know, issues and whatnot. This hobby has thankfully calmed them down. They don't have to resort to drugs and everything else. I mean, I can't really say much. I like CBD and wine. I mean, I'm drinking wine right now. Right here to my Dionysus cup. Ugh, it's too sweet, the sangria. Anyways, point is that with it, like, this hobby has saved me many times from my depression. And like I said, it is a wonderful tool when you see again. Your models look like this, you know, starting off like this, and eventually become this. So, let's go over again the Nurglings. Where was I at? Okay, so other than spread untold desire, I read that. They love to disrupt enemy lines, attacking enemies by sheer numbers. Be their awful little bodies, being little troublemakers, again, akin to spastic, ADD-ridden, smelly, gross children. They kind of, again, go to the battle lines and they just overthrow their enemies. They just sneak in, it's like overrun it, and just, again, play with anyone they find. The poor guardsmen be like, oh crap, there's so many of these things, get them off me, and they're just, again, just biting, and they're like, hey, what's up, play with us. I mean, they don't know any better. They're minds of children. I mean, like, you know, like, child on a playground and be like, hey, let's play. I'm like, all right, sure. And your knees again break because, like, you know, they have like little 8-year-old knees, and your knees are like 30 years old, and you're chasing after him going, why am I chasing after this kid? Like, just please slow down. My knees can't take it. But I mean, that's what I mean. Like, these things are just these squishable little, like, disgusting little vermin that go around, again, like, destroying property. They again take the tank lines and go to the treads, crapping all over the treads. I mean, it's just they're nuisances. And they're supposed to be like little joke characters. They're not really joke characters. They're actually really endearing. I love the Nurglings just because, again, how simplistic they are. Most demons have a conniving reason. Like, most of them have, like, you know, some sort of, like, deeper, darker purpose. No, Nurglings are there just to crap and have fun. I mean, same with Blue Horrors, I think, if you're a Zinch player. Anyways, what is the relationship between Death Guard and the Nurglings? Death Guard revere their patron god, Nurgle, to team up with little lords, that's what they call it, is a blessing sent by the grandfather himself. So a lot of it has to do with, like, honor and respect. The Death Guard are a very old Space Marine chapter from Albion, from the, you know, old Terra. And when they met their Primarch, Mortaria in Barbados, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, please go to Luton or to Voldemort for more clarification. Just find anything with Death Guard. I will do the next video about Death Guard itself, but they will explain it a lot better than I can. Death Guard do go to war with the happy little children, following, hiding in vents, among crates, even in the guts of their actual power. So again, what happens, imagine a slurm walking around, inside the gut, this thing pops out, and goes barreling back in. It's just, again, the Nurglings are not akin to, like, super evil. They just are troublemakers. They just are there to have fun. And, you know, having fun is what they want to do. They want to, again, experience, when they go to out of the warp, because, again, what happens, how these demons work in this universe is that they get summoned by either a cultist or by one of these guys, and they cause havoc, they run amok. But the the Death Guard usually again keep them on their ships and whatnot. They keep them in their their um, their flagships, and usually again they crawl in vents and whatnot. So they pop from the warp into real space. That's what I call it. Our dimension is called real space. So what happens with the two is that they just show up, and then again they do mischievous things, and they get hit by a bolter, and they get sent back to the warp. Unless it's psychic powers, they may just get killed once and for all. Who knows? They don't necessarily die unless it's like, again, like I said, psychic powers. I mean, I'll explain that a little bit more detail later. But with it too is that with it like with it too again like with it, the Death Guard have I think really bad trust issues because even their Primarch like really doesn't really care much about them. I mean, he sort of does, but not really. He never really wanted to fall to chaos to begin with. The Primarch is a really big genetic hulking monster that was made by the Emperor of Mankind. Again, go see Luton's videos. They explain more about this. What was the next part I was going to say? So they're laughing, giggling, farting, and crapping their way to victory. That's what they do. These guys, as you seen, if you saw my last battle report, that's what they do. They usually stay in the battlefield and try to overpower their numbers. I'll take a passage from the Death Guard Codex, 8th edition, and I quote, "Some attach themselves to individual warriors, following their masters around like faithful pets, attempting to helping any way they can. Many Death Guard find these effusive mites a constant annoyance, as they flitch blight grenades to wave and scramble up armor limbs, lap at putrid discharge, and mimic bellowed orders and squeaky voices. Like, you attack like this! You attack like this! I mean, like, I try to mimic them, but I don't think they talk like that. But anyways, while waving their stubby arms. Yet, their presence is also believed to be a sign of Nurgle's favor, for the grandfather does yet entrust his squilsham pretties to just any mortal servant. So again, he really trusts the Death Guard, because even though Death Guard, they find him a nuisance and whatnot, they'll still have to take care of them because they're called little lords. I remember reading a book called Lords of Silence, or I read the book and then I also heard the audio drama. The audio drama is just as good too. I love DW's audio dramas because they inspire me to become a voice actor. In the audio drama, the Lords of Silence, the Death Guard or the war band, the Death Guard, called the Lords of Silence. They get hit their ship by a special weapon, and they get launched into space, and they have to stay there and whatnot. And all these bad times happen, and because of those bad times, I have to get some more. This is why, again, like with this, stuff dries up really quick. So again, as they get bombarded by this thing, Vox, one of the main characters, he's like a Lord of Contagion. He looks around his surroundings. He's hurt. He's like bleeding out or disgusting. He's really not doing much. And he finds a little Lord that's kind of like wounded. So he takes it and he's like, "Come, little guy, let's take you to the apothecary and let's make sure again you the talisman to make sure again like you are in better hands." So he cradles him like a child. That's the whole point. Like with it too is that like the little lords are revered as like how like if you know the lore, cherubs are a thing. Cherubs are little like, let's call them angels. They're like Catholic angels. Catholicism has like little angels falling around all over the place, kind of just like to protect people or sent by God or whatever. So imagine that, but like a disgusting little maggot crawled critter that farts all over your room and craps all over the room, just like, "Hey, let's play." So he like bites into your like chest, then you get AIDS and die, unfortunately. But the point is with it like the little lords, like I said, too, like they really look up to their Death Guard warriors, because they're like, "I want to be just like you," even though like you guys are hulking behemoth monsters or whatever. Anyways, so people ask about why I chose this pattern that I did. I really love this pattern because I thought to myself, okay, so I mix orange, okay, Then I mix some either Red Flex Shade, or I think I have it in here. Like an orange one. Do I have it in here? No, I don't think I do. Anyways, I mix the Red Flex Shade with the orange, and it comes out like a really good solid orange. You can still see the orange on it. Then I dry brush the yellow on it, and I try to highlight it yellow afterwards. And you can see again how disgusting these little guys are. The contrast really well because, if you can see, sorry if the camera's messed up, light. You can see again, like, you know, with it, like, these guys are very, like, mischievous. And I do a thing called Adopt a Nurgling. So when I go play with actual people, I bring these guys along, and you can adopt a Nurgling. You know, it's kind of just like a care center where you can take these little gross guys home. They actually really like it because the red boils and the yellow really contrast well, like almost like kind of like scarlet fever. I'll go for that kind of approach. They're like scarlet fever Marines. I was trying to make them like with the, you can see here, the same yellow and whatnot with the bone. So make almost like an infectious bone kind of look. I like it too because it's like it's just really gross. Like anything Nurgle is just gross. And I think, like, you know, gross Marines are great to fight against Ultramarines. I think also with it too, like it personifies again how bad the Death Guard really are, as in their not tactics, but just the way they are. They're just hulking monsters that come in and just infect a planet because, you know, that's what they're told to do. That's their job. Anyways, at this point, what did I say? So again, I said the Nurglings seem jolly, and why? Nurgling is always happy because they have the mind of an autistic 5-year-old. So most of them will fight themselves, play games, hide and seek with the guardsmen, tear a Space Marine's helmet off, and crap in their face, or run away from the bad man Hector, psychic man Bat. Like, and it's true. Like, these guys again are there to play. Like I said before, they are little tiny lords that really want to not exploit humans, mortals. I think it's the opposite. They just want to play with them. But it's like, imagine an autistic child that has like you know, like razor blades as a hands. Like, you know, he wants to hug you, but you're like, no, I'm good. No, please don't hug me, Fred. Fred, stop. It's like, you know, like he doesn't mean to hug you. He wants to hug you. Like, he just has razor sharp claws that can rip you apart. It's not his fault. It's the way his mind is. So I just think with it too, like, they're just funny to play. I really love Nurglings because they're just really, really jolly, and it makes me jolly too. Because, you know, I'm kind of depressed almost all the time. I got better from my depression, but like just seeing them happy makes me happy. Because like, look how ridiculous these things are. Like Dari said, they're children. They're children to all this. That's what they are. They're children. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I remember one time we played this one battle report, and we're kind of laughing because they were like, we're slaughtering Nurglings, and he's like, they're children, Art. And I'm like, you know, I didn't understand it now because I was playing Ultramarines before, and with it too, with it like, I don't know, like the way I see it is that, like, with it, like, this is like a war game, so like I don't take things like that very seriously. Like, as Chris would say from Way of the Brush, he's like, no, I don't take this game very seriously. But, you know, that's what they are. They're pretty much kids. They're just, again, equivalent to, like, again, like 7th graders, but just, or not even 7th graders. Yeah, probably 7th graders, 6th graders. Just, again, like really awful versions of them. Just, again, like, you know, imagine a teacher showing up to class. You see a ton of, like, Nurglings showing up, like, crapping themselves, throwing all over the place. And it's like, oh, my day just started. She pulls on her hazmat suit. Okay, children, settle down, settle down. She screams out, settle down. She says, like, an air horn out. You know, they look at her. Today, we're going to learn our multiplication tables. Again, we're going to use trigonometry. And they just start going, boo, boo, you suck. Again, they don't like math. They just want to, again, like, you know, go around touching everything with their poopy hands. I mean, it's Nurgle. It's Nurgle in a nutshell. I mean, again, people don't like gross things, and I get it. I get people why they don't like gross things. Nurgle is just as gross as they come. People like, this is like my friend Joko, who works at a comic store nearby. He's like, yeah, this stuff is gross. It's gross, Grimald. This gross. I mean, like, with it, I can understand why it's gross, and not that I'm magnetized to gross things. But I can handle gross things. I mean, I try to make them like garbage men. That's what they are. They're like garbage men of Nurgle. And like any good trash man, the Death Guard usually again have like not really high standards. They just again don't really care much about human life. At that point, they're monsters. I mean, they're just again there to not just exterminate, because like everything in 40k is about purging. It's purging on a planet. Like no matter if you're a good guy or a bad guy, it doesn't matter. It comes down again to whatever your higher ups tell you to do. I mean, it's war. Nurglings are casualties of this war, but there's so many of them. I mean, the warp is like filled with like nothing but Nurglings in Nurgle's garden. Like they just again like just if like some poor human being showed up into the Nurgle's garden, they would immediately again play with that person, but they would just rip them apart because they don't know how to control themselves. It's like pretty much like that. What else did I write for my script? Is Nurglings good for battles? Yes and no. If you can see my last battle report, you understand why. They went up against Old Man Hector, and if people haven't seen my battle report yet, you will understand what that means. Yeah, they're not really good in combat. They absolutely suck in combat. They are good for situations. They have very good situations. They can hold objectives. They have a sneaking ability. I guess they're really good against scouts and guardsmen and maybe other things that are small. But up against a Baneblade, yeah, they're going to get wrecked. Up against like a Land Raider, they're going to get wrecked. Up against a Redemptor Dreadnought, you better believe they're going to get wrecked. I mean, it all depends. I mean, they're very situational. I didn't see anything new about the Death Guard Codex about them because I haven't got it yet. But maybe they have a stratagem that they can use. Maybe they can, again, use the Contagion ability. I don't think they can because they're the Demon Coward. Pretty sure that's the case. See, look how like his shading is coming up. See if we can see the camera. Look, so he goes from again, you know, like brownish arbor now to like he looks green. It's gross. It's supposed to be gross. You're like, ugh. Okay, grime is that? I don't want to touch that guy. Gross, get out of here. Get out of here. So that's what I mean. Like, and also with the Nurglings too. Again, they're good in bunches, but they have no ranged weapon capabilities. I'm just gonna sit there and be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna sit there and just eat crap, I guess. Literally. Like you bombard me with like something. This is fun. This is great. This is awesome. Good times. And I'm not going to complain because Nurglings, again, like I said, they can hold the objective. They're very situational. I just like playing them because, again, like something about Nurglings just makes me happy just to see them. As for other special abilities, they can be summoned, which is great too if you're playing reinforcement points. Narrative, I play Death Guard very narratively. I do not play competitively at all. I play my Dark Angels extremely competitively. I only play Dark Angels. I got rid of all my Dark Angels just to play with my competitive version. I will not play Dark Angels fluff ever again. They're there for just 2,000 points and 2,000 points alone. When it comes to fighting someone else, I like Dark Angels, like the lore and everything else. But I want to give myself a challenge because, yeah, they're pretty good on the battlefield. I mean, they're decent. They're not top tier. Like Salamanders are top tier. If I do that all over again, it'll be definitely Salamanders. But with all this expensive plastic crap you have to afford, it's with it too is that, like, you know, the rule of cool. Like, these guys look cool. Like, this guy looks like he has an old World War I helmet. He walks around like a marauder. He shoots like these horrible assault bolters that like rip through flesh. Like, this guy is like a big deal. Like, he is a walking behemoth. He's about like 8 foot tall, like disgusting, rotting death knight, pretty much like a plague knight, which he is. The whole point is that there's like in Gaelic mythology, it's like there was like plague knights out there that were encrusted with plague, and they were like almost like a death knight. So that's what they're supposed to go for, the aesthetic that GW wanted to go for. And I like it because with it too, if you look at the old Plague Marines, you're like, wow, this is really derpy. And you look at New Marines, like, yeah, my boy, yeah. Like I said, like this looks really cool. So going back to Nurglings really quick, are they good? Yes, they are good for a cheap choice. If you're going to play them competitively, definitely bring them, because people are bringing Terminators now. They're going to bring them in force. So you just want to screen as many Nurglings as you can, and just again put Poxwalkers and Nurglings out, and be like, all right, I'm just going to just screen, and then have my Death Guard either jump in or my Terminators jump in, or I have them again, like, walk with Mortarion or something. Which again is kind of stupid because the Death Guard or the Blight Lords, the Terminators don't really move very fast. So thankfully, again, with the contagion ability, because before Nurgle would just sit there and do nothing and then get shot and die. But now at least they get shot and die, they have contagion abilities, so that's actually really worth it. Because -1 toughness is, whew, that's very good. Like, that's extremely good. That is a game changer. And you get more contagions and stuff like that, and there's, I think, other versions of contagions and yada yada. But with it, I think with it, like, these guys, again, when it comes to Nurglings, unless I read the Codex, hopefully they have something good they can use. I don't know if they're going to have something good they can use. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know because I don't read the Codex. I saw a couple of videos already. And again, go check out Ego Alexis Queen's video. I think she talks about them. I don't know. I don't remember at the moment. But at the same point, too, with it, like, Nurglings are just good for screening units. Lots and lots of screens. My friend Dari used to use them for screens, too. Like, he's like, when he played me competitively, we again used to play extremely competitively. He would bring them just, again, to screen me so I can't drop in. And they'd be like, hey, we're just going to stay here and grab the objective. Or I'm just going to move up and use my scout ability to grab this objective. And no matter what you do, your bolters can't really hurt me very much because I have Disgusting Resilient, and I have a bunch of other things I can use against you. Now it's different because Disgusting Resilient works differently now. I think we'll get a 6-up save. I'm not sure. 6-up Fatal Pain. I know the Poxwalkers do. I don't know if they actually do or not. I'm going to have to check out the Codex for that. But they die even faster now. So they're expendable units, but at least they're cheap. They're very cheap. I mean, their power level are really cheap, and I think point-wise, they're like 45 points, I think. I mean, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But like I said, if you want them for competitive reasons, they're just good for screening, and that's it. And you can always summon them in. So what happens the last second, let's say, again, they're halfway across the battlefield, and your Death Guard move really effing slow. Keep them in reinforcement points, and here's why. You keep them reinforcement points, you can summon them back on an objective. That's it. They're very good. And just hold their objective the entire time. The only problem is that your Space Marine character can't move. Other than that, it's a good ploy. Like my friend, he would bring Dari, he would bring Knights, and he'll bring a Nurgle Contagion with them, and Imperial Knights, the Chaos Knights, and he would bring Nurglings with him just to screen at tournaments. That's it. So I mean, you can use them for a lot of that if you want. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna do a quote. The quote again is from the book itself. Cantus, slow advance bank. Plague means dead ahead. Load high. Wait, bro. What are those things? All over the hull. Get the damn hatch closed. Close it. Oh no, no. No, no! Last words of the lieutenant or lieutenant, host and commander of the Lehman Russ rights of battle. Imagine like in that poor tank, you see like all them just like laughing, like Peter Griffin, trying to again like get to the hatch at this point. So I want to talk a little bit more before I end this video. This video is pretty much a test for future videos. We're at the 14 minutes. Not bad. It's pretty good. Pretty good video. I'm going to talk a little bit more. I mean, with it, Nurglings are cool. Always go for cool. I know people love to play the meta, but don't play the meta. Play the rule of cool. Look how cool this is. This is from Space Marine Heroes. Look how badass this is. Look how badass this is. Let's see if I can close the light. Maybe you can see it better. That's probably better. Yeah. No, that is fine. Look how badass this is. Look how badass. He is a flail. And you better believe this does damage. Like, everyone takes flails for Death Guard competitive codex. This is from the Space Marine Hero codex, the Space Marine Heroes Season 3 set. And these things look badass. This is an Icon of Despair or whatnot. And Icon of Despair does a little bit, like, according to Dari, does better things now, like this guy. But with it, with the flail, it does so much damage. Now plus Death Guard gets an extra attack. This thing just wrecks in combat. This is better than actually a Power Fist. A lot better. Because remember, now it's -1 toughness, and this thing is just going to come in and just wreck face. Especially when you put Veterans of the Long War on them. It's even better. So I think it can carry melee weapons. So, anyways. So, anyways, let's paint a little bit more, and then I'll turn off this video. But yeah, like I said, like the Death Guard have weaknesses though, and one of the weaknesses, they're really effing slow. They're very slow. When GW made these guys, they're like, yeah, we're gonna make them monstrous brutes, but yeah, good luck slogging them, crafting across the field. And that's the whole point. You're supposed to put them in rhinos. You're supposed to again teleport them down. And I gotta get rhinos. I really do. I want to get a third-party rhino, even though GW is like, we don't like people with third-party. But I really don't care. Like I love third-party models too. And there's one rhino that's like disgusting and it like has tentacles coming out of it. And it's definitely like $60. But I'm just like, am I gonna buy a $40 variant that looks like standard, or I'm gonna get the really cool infested rhino? Yeah, I'm gonna get the infested rhino. I may have to buy a Land Raider. I'm definitely going to have to buy the. I don't have any of those, unfortunately. The what was the thing called? Escape my mind at the moment. What was the thing's called? Hold on. Oh, I think it's like not the Plague Spitters. Let me check the book. My 8th edition book. I have right here. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'm gonna get the father too. Yeah, definitely gonna get the fathers as well. This just look cool. It is Plague Burst Crawler. There we go. And you get them because they just look cool. Also, like I would bring them in battle reports. I would just bring them as like fluff. Like you guys had to try to take it out. Not a kill team, but like let's say someone who's just new to the hobby. And I use these guys very narratively. I don't use this guys at all competitively or all fluff-wise. I use them very narratively. I'm actually going to play my friend Bishop soon in a Crusade game because he's getting Dark Eldar, and he wants to relearn how to use them because he hasn't used them in a long time. And I'm definitely going to get the try brush just a little bit better. I'm going to get the Death Guard Codex, and we're going to do Crusade. It's going to be amazing because, again, there's so many. I love Crusade just because it has so many possibilities you can do. It truly is one of GW's greatest achievements. I played it by myself during the summer, and let me tell you, like I played Death Guard versus Ultramarines. I had some very close games, logistically speaking. It's hard to film games, especially longer games, especially with the crappy camera I have right now. But you got to make do what you got to do. With it. Like I said, like I'm looking forward to these Crusade games. A, because me and him are going insane because of COVID, and B, like with it too, is that like at least with Crusade, it feels like you're amassing a force, and you get to upgrade him. Like this guy will probably be like a named character, and like I always name my characters and stuff like that for the battle reports because you really want them to feel significant. You're like, this is not just a normal another drone or another piece you're gonna use. This is again, we call them. What should I call them? What should I call them? I have Flubber Prime. I have a bunch of other ones. What should I call them? Maybe Vector? Vector or Zim? I don't know. Some like from Invader Zim maybe? I don't know. Like I'll figure that out. But the thing is, you give them names, you give them backstories, and you give them again like a purpose for your army. And this is a purpose for your army because it really solidifies what 40K is. Like you buy expensive plastic crack, you might as well again, like do what you want with it. It's yours. If you want to get a Chaos Space Marine painted pink, go right ahead. It doesn't even have to be Sinesh. It could be Death Guard. It could be anything you want. Like this is your models, and I think with it too is that like with it, why I play this game is because like I said, I get very depressed really quick. I went through a lot during COVID, like a lot. Like you have no idea how much I went through in COVID. And also with it too, like I want this to be my healthy escape. This is my healthy escape. Like this is again something I can do, I can improve on, and yada yada. And that's what I mean. Like Crusade's gonna be a lot of fun because you can take your army and you can see how far it grows, and you're like, this is my army. These are my badasses. These are my guys or girls or its or whatever I've grew over time. So, like I said, I really do like Death Guard just because they look so cool. And again, I would never play them competitively because there's just no point. Like, I would never rock to a tournament with a Death Guard list because I think with it too, like, I'd just rather have them on standby when a new player comes up, like, hey, I don't know how to play 40k, can you teach me? I'm like, absolutely. You know anything about the Death Guard? And they're like, no. Well, let me teach you how to play Death Guard. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. I mean, Death Guard has some very bad weaknesses too, like movement is awful. Then you have to buy like rhinos. Then you have to buy, again, it's another plastic addiction for you. But then you can play other ones like Tzeentch. Tzeentch and Death Guard are a very good matchup. It's always a lot of fun because again, in the Warp, Tzeentch and Death Guard are like mortal enemies. They hate each other. So at this point, again, with it, like these guys again are very good counters towards Tzeentch's army. But with the new Disgusting Resilient rule, they can't get 5-up Fatal Pains anymore. So we'll see what happens. I mean, again, they have been the staple for the new Chaos Marines. Other than the Black Legion, like Chaos Marines haven't got much yet. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, I think that's the end of my video. I did a really good job dry brushing all these. Again, check out Luton and check out Voldemort. He's really good. He will explain more about the lore, and if this is your first time in the hobby, welcome. Welcome to the addiction that is 40k. I promise you this addiction will last forever. You don't have to collect hundreds of models. There's a smaller variant version of this game if you want to play it. Or if you just want to paint. I know people who don't even play the game and love painting this. It's good plastic crack. I mean, it's good canvas models. I know people who, my friend Dari just showed me this one picture of Typhus, the Death Guard commander, in like a frost blue, like Death Knight from World of Warcraft kind of color. It was amazing. It's like, looked like actual ice. I'm like, this is incredible. I can never paint to that level. And I get jealous, obviously, because it's like, but, it's healthy jealousy. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to get mad, but there's people out there who do incredible jobs with their canvases. And I implore everyone to go watch Chris at Way of the Brush. I bought his merchandise, by the way. This is the Way of the Brush hoodie. It's very, very, very warm, and it's actually really comfortable. I feel my power, my energy channeled through my, we call him the Monkey Lord. That's what he is. He does have, again, a really good channel. It teaches you how to paint. Anyone can paint. Anyone. My friend Braverman has nerve damage in his fingers, and he found a way, because he does martial arts, to paint. Get one of these. Get one of these, and get only a few paints and primer. Get 5 paints and then start. I guarantee you'll be happy when it comes out. You want to see something? Hold on, let me show you something. Hold on, go back. So obviously, I'm not the greatest painter in the world, but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good when it comes to painting. Okay? All right. This is my absolute best. This guy. Let's take it off the light for a second. Is it better? Yeah, a little better. Look how cool, look how badass that is. All right? Highlighting, shading, the works. I didn't base them because I never based my Dark Angels. That's just no point. I don't like basing my Dark Angels. It's a tradition of mine. I mean, it's kind of messed up, but whatever. This is, again, my semi-good painting, where, again, I kind of, again, draw. I'm really thick in my painting, unfortunately. I'm not too thin. But, again, this is me, okay? This is, again, Cypher, Lord Cypher. One of my favorite characters in the game. The new volume. This is my first model. This terrible thing is my first model. People are like, oh, it's not that bad. But no, you can paint from this to this to this. It takes time. And Braverman, my friend Brave, he's testament to this. He has nerve damage in his finger, and he found a way to paint. So please, please paint. Don't even play. If you don't want to play the game, I understand. If it's too complicated, or you don't like playing war, I get it. But paint. There's also the Age of Sigmar variant, who's very good too, like the fantasy version. Like, they have really good monsters you can paint. You don't have to collect DW products like like paints and stuff. There's Vallejo's a lot better. It is. I just collect DW because it's cheaper and simpler for me. But then eventually you will get to this level where you will paint to this. Okay. So anyways, like I said, if you guys like this kind of stuff, the next video I'm probably going to do is Death Guard. I'm going to have to do a lot more research for them. But I'm going to have to do Death Guard as my next one. If you guys like this kind of videos and stuff like that, I'm going to make more of them. I love like doing lore videos. I love lore in general. I may just do other things other than 40K. I may just do like, like Norse mythology, Greek mythology, and, set up a script or something and try to read it off a bit. Or, just, naturally go with the flow. I think with it too, like, I'm a very good storyteller in real life. I've done Dungeons and Dragons. I've written a couple of literature. I know good stories. So like I said, with it too, if you guys like this stuff, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Again, go check out the other plugs I just mentioned. Luton 40K, Voldemort 40K on YouTube, and of course, Wave the Brush Chris. Alright guys, I will see you guys later, and you guys please have a good day and be safe.